Hi guys, I just got out of the cinema from seeing Lee Winnell's The Invisible Man, and what's happening here?
Everybody's a suspect!
Coming to get you, Bobber.
Wolfman's got Nards!
The Invisible Man is a 2019 horror movie directed by Lee Winnell, and it stars Elizabeth Moss, Harriet Dyer and Aldous Hodge. Do you ever go into a movie with no expectations whatsoever, and then when you come out it absolutely blows your mind? That's The Invisible Man. When Cecilia's abusive ex takes his own life and leaves her his fortune, she suspects his death was a hoax. As a series of coincidences turn lethal, Cecilia works to prove that she's been hunted by someone nobody else can see. Let's get straight into the score. The score for this film was absolutely intense. You had this deep banging sound when something bad was going to happen, or we had this build up to something bad that was about to happen, and when you knew that Adrian, the Invisible Man, was around, you could hear a little crackling sound that ties in with the score as well. It was fantastic. I know that I'm going to be discussing I'm going to be discussing James Wan quite a few times in this, because James Wan seems to be the influence behind Lee Winnell's success, and that's nothing taken away from Lee Winnell. When you watch movies like The Conjuring, for example, James Wan takes the score and uses it as an advantage to make us scared in certain scenes, and that's what happens in The Invisible Man, and I'm guessing that Lee Winnell takes some of that inspiration from James Wan. CGI. Now, for a movie that should rely on CGI quite a bit, for a movie that's called The Invisible Man, I tended not to notice the CGI in the film at all. Yes, of course there was CGI, but I think what was happening, it took us away from the CGI moments, because some of the scenes were so intense that when the CGI had to be used, you didn't care because the scene was just so intense. It was great. And yet, when we didn't see, there were certain scenes where we could see the Invisible Man, but we couldn't really see him. You could tell the CGI was used there. But in times when there was absolutely no person there, when it was the Invisible Man, but things were getting lifted up, the CGI was perfect. I'm going to tie in the lighting and the cinematography together. I don't know, I didn't read up on who done the lighting or the cinematography, but let's all give credit to Lee Winnell for this anyway, because I'm sure most of it was his idea. But the lighting in it was fantastic. It was a very dark movie. There was obviously daytime shots, but most of the events took place at night time in a house with closed doors, closed windows. So they didn't have a lot of light to work with, but the lighting that you used was perfect. We could see things in the darkness that we thought, is that him? Or are we just seeing things? And it made us, the viewer, think like Elizabeth Moss's character. Are we seeing something that's not actually there? And it was perfect. And that's when we tie in the cinematography as well. When these scenes were being shown, when we seen the lighting, the cinematography was beautiful. Adrian had a big massive house, he was a millionaire, and the way that they panned some of these shots, even the small houses, you could see that like a wide angle with the pan going across. It was very similar to John Carpenter, and again I'm going to talk about John Carpenter as well, but the shots were just absolutely stunning. This is just a side thought. Now, Blumhouse own the rights to Halloween at the moment. Right now, I don't want to talk about Halloween too much, but they own the rights to Halloween. They've got Lee Winnell. He done Upgrade with Blumhouse Tilt a few years ago, which was absolutely fantastic, and now Lee Winnell's back with Blumhouse again doing The Invisible Man. What if, just what if, Lee Winnell is the next director for a Halloween movie? For those of you who have seen The Invisible Man, you will know what I mean. I don't want to spoil anything, but you'll know what I mean with the mood, the lighting, the cinematography. It was as if he also took not just inspiration from James Wan, but from John Carpenter as well. I think some of the scenes, if you didn't know it was The Invisible Man you were watching, you might have been thinking it was a Halloween movie you were watching, or at least a John Carpenter movie. Let's talk about the acting. Now, I was sucked in from the very beginning with the acting. We've got Elizabeth Moss, who gave us a fantastic performance from beginning to the very end. She was this scared person all the way through the film, but she was also confident at times as well when she thought she was one step ahead of Adrian, the Invisible Man. Just the way she acted, and then when she got put into a mental asylum, you'd see that in the trailer, when she got put into this mental asylum, you could see her as if she was starting to lose herself, as if is she believing what she's saying? And she was the only person that thought she was sane and everybody else was crazy because nobody was believing what she was saying. But again, Elizabeth Moss was amazing. Everybody else was great as well. Not one person I didn't like. Even the bad people in the film, which I can't tell you who they are, the bad people in the film, I still got behind them as well because Leigh Whannell gave us three-dimensional characters. He didn't just give us these characters that were throwaway characters. The main cast, I mean, every main cast member you got behind, whether that's in a good way or a bad way, you got behind them to see who they were. You wanted to know more about them. Did you hear that? I think the characters were so deep that I did get behind them a lot, especially with Elizabeth Moss. I think there was a powerful message behind the make-believe of the Invisible Man. You've got this woman who was abused by her partner. This could happen both ways. You could have a man being abused by a woman be abused by a man. In this instance, she was abused by her partner physically and mentally. And I think Leigh Whannell tackled that subject pretty well. Obviously, it's a far-fetched movie with what happens in the movie, but I think the real story, the real reason why she was so scared of this man in the first place felt really realistic. I've not been in a relationship like that myself, so I don't understand, but I'm pretty sure some of my viewers may understand that. And I might hit a few nerves for people, and I might hit home quite hard for some people, but I think Leigh Whannell tackles that subject really well and very sensitively as well. Apart from the abuse storyline and the obvious Invisible Man storyline, I think for the first half hour, 40 minutes, it felt like a ghost story, a haunted house film. If you were to watch this movie not knowing if it was called The Invisible Man, you would think that this woman was being haunted by the ghost of her ex-partner, by the person who was abusing her. And I think another positive that Leigh Whannell gives us is the fact that he can direct a movie that could be a great scary ghost story. There were scenes where you're thinking, oh my god, you just can't watch because it was so scary. And when I say scary, I wasn't meaning like you close your eyes and you don't want to see because it's too scary. I think that if you put yourself into her situation and you hear noises at night, you think there's something there in front of you and you don't actually know what it is, that's scary in itself. And I think that although Leigh Whannell knows that he's not going to be scaring the majority of the adult audience, he at least wants to make them feel uneasy, and I did. I felt uneasy at times. With the ghost scenes or the ghost looking scenes, I think again he's taken inspiration from James Wan, and that's nothing against Leigh Whannell. I think that Leigh Whannell's learned from the best. James Wan is an absolutely fantastic director, but I think Leigh Whannell also stands on his own 2 feet as well, not just with The Invisible Man. He's done it for years, and obviously I think he became his own director when he directed Upgrade a few years ago, and I think that it's time for Leigh Whannell to step out and show his worth. I think he's worth a lot more than being a backseat director or being an unknown director. He done a fantastic job with Upgrade, and he done an amazing job with The Invisible Man. This might be obvious to a lot of you who have seen the movie, but I think it was great that we didn't really see Adrian's face until the end of the movie, or almost at the end of the movie. Without spoiling anything, we didn't really see Adrian throughout the film. When we saw Adrian, we could only see the back of him, the side of him. We've seen him on a monitor, or we didn't see him at all. I think it was perfect the way they done that. He was truly the Invisible Man until near the end of the movie. Overall, guys, I absolutely loved it. If you couldn't tell from my review, there was not anything I would change about this film. I think they changed the Invisible Man story for the better. I know you could call this a remake, but they've done something similar to what they've done with The Thing in 1982. They took an idea, they took a title and a story, and they've done their own thing, and that's what Leigh Whannell done perfectly. So this was a massive surprise for me. I wasn't expecting much from it. I thought it looked good from the trailers. I just didn't expect it to be this good. And the rumours aren't true. You don't see everything or anything in the trailers. The trailers don't give anything away. They just show you enough to know what you're in for. And as much as the movie was kind of predictable, there was a lot of unpredictable scenes in it which I can't mention because it's spoiler free, but I highly recommend that you go and see this movie. Have you seen The Invisible Man, guys? As always, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you thought of the movie, and also if you've seen any of the other Invisible Man films, even the Chevy Chase one, let me know how this ranks with the rest of the Invisible Man movies. As always, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.